What's going on, guys? Today we're going to install one of the coolest upgrades that you can do to any car. It's going to improve your fuel economy, your performance, and again, it's one of the coolest upgrades that you can do to any car. Get it? Because it's a fan. It cools things. Anyways, if you guys watch Engine Masters, then you've probably seen where they take a small block Chevy, place a bunch of different mechanical fans on it, and see how much horsepower those different mechanical fans kill, and then they compare it to no mechanical fan at all, which would be the same as using an electric fan. I forget the exact numbers, but it was like a 30 horsepower difference between the mechanical fan and the electric fan, depending on the fan type. So today we're only going to be installing a single 16-inch fan. You can use dual fans. However, I don't think that this engine is going to get hot enough to need dual fans. The fan kit comes with a wiring harness and of course some wiring instructions. They also come with some zip ties that help you mount the fan to the radiator. And then I also ordered a separate harness that I thought looked a little bit better built, and it also includes a temperature probe that will go through the core of the radiator instead of actually having to use a thread-in type, because my options are limited on this engine. Sorry if there's some background noise. We are getting some rain now, so we're gonna go ahead and start with this installation, and hopefully you guys can hear me fine. I'm using a new mic, so it should help out quite a bit. All right, we're gonna go ahead and pop this fan off of here. I'm currently using like one of the Flex Light fans. They're designed that the faster the engine is rotating, they're supposed to flatten out, the blades are, to create less like rotational force on the engine. However, anything on this pulley system that you're driving, so like all your accessories like power steering, or if you're running air conditioning, all of that requires power to run that because it's all on the pulley system. And the more accessories that you have on the pulley system, the more parasitic drag that it's going to place on the engine, causing you to lose horsepower. And nobody wants to lose horsepower. So that goes over there. All right, I've got the pulley mounted back up there. If you have some kind of tensioner, you're gonna have to make sure that you loosen up the tensioner before you take this pulley off, or it'll be impossible to get it back on without moving the tensioner anyways. On this one, I have an adjustable threaded rod here. That's what I use to set my tension. That's not a factory thing, but that's what I put on here. All right, now we just need to figure out where we're gonna mount this thing up at. So this should cover most of the core of this radiator, which it does. So I've found that they're easier to mount in here first and then run all of your wires and stuff after the fan is already mounted in here. All right, what you're gonna want is one of these zip ties, and then the other side of it is obviously right here. You're just gonna drive this through the core of the radiator. Make sure that you don't damage anything when you push this through. Also, they supply these little pads. They also come with springs, which I've never used those, so again, just throw that over there. I just use a pad on each side of the radiator where there's going to be any kind of mounting hardware. There's a hole right in the center of the pad. That way you can just punch this zip tie straight through there. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing mounted up right now. Another huge advantage of these electric fans is the sound. You don't really think about it at first, but the engine bay of this truck sounds like a hurricane. So this is going to make a huge difference on the sound. You're gonna hear a much more exhaust note without it being drowned out by the sound of the engine bay. So I think everyone likes that. As you can see, the zip tie just pushes through, and you got to put the back side of this zip tie and then a pad and just kind of sandwich the fan against the radiator like that. Super easy. There's just 4 of them you have to do, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so if you look at the instructions, you can set it up as a pusher or a puller. Make sure that you set it up for pulling the air through, because obviously as the truck is driving forward, air is coming in this way, and then the fan is just going to help carry the air through and speed that air up going through the radiator, which will obviously help cool the water or the coolant much more efficiently. Okay, so obviously the kit comes with a wiring harness, but we bought the second one so that we could get the temperature probe right here, which is just going to be driven through the core of the radiator. There's a little retaining clip that goes on the other side to keep it in there. and then obviously you'll just wire it up. But this comes with a couple inline fuses, so I just think that for this application, it's going to be a little bit better than the one that came with the fan itself. Reading through the directions on the wiring harness, it looks like the black will obviously be a ground. That was kind of a given. The blue is only used for a dual fan setup. The brown will go to the temperature probe. The yellow goes to the other side of the temperature probe, which will then go to the 12-volt supply from the ignition switch, which this truck has an aftermarket wiring harness in it. So there's already a designated wire in the system for an electric fan, and that's already been run through the firewall and is right here. The red will go directly to the battery, and there's an inline fuse for that. And then the orange will go to power the fan motor. So I'm going to go ahead and start making these connections here. We're just going to recap a little bit here. We got the yellow wire that's running to the temperature probe. The brown wire is running to the other side, to the relay, which is mounted on the fender well here. The red with the inline fuse is running directly to the positive terminal of the battery. The yellow, again, from the temperature probe is a 12-volt ignition switched source that's completely wired up. Green wire is for an override. So if you wanted to manually switch it on, or if you wanted the fans to kick on while you have AC, that's what the green wire is for. I don't have AC. I will be wiring up a manual switch, but not yet. So I'm just going to kind of zip tie everything up. I also have the black wire from the relay and the fan, both going to a ground, which I've just, rubbed all the paint off of the fender well here, made sure that I had a good ground, good metal contact. That's all taken care of. This thing now should be ready to fire up. The fan should work. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we have power to everything just to be on the safe side. Then I'm going to try to drive the thing out of here and get it up to temp and see if this fan will come on. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cold start this thing. It hasn't run for a while, so I'm going to get it started up. Once it gets started, I'm going to unplug the mic and show you guys the difference that having a mechanical fan versus not having a mechanical fan will make. Come on now. Here, get it up to temp and see if the fan will turn on here. It's the first time I've run this thing for a while, so. We're going to step outside for a before and after without the mic plugged in. So much quieter up here. So much quieter. The fan still hasn't turned on yet. We're going to wait till it warms up a little bit more and then we'll check again. All right, we're getting up to about 180 right now. The fan should come on at any time here. This temperature probe is designed to kick off at 185 degrees. So it should be coming on at any second now. Hopefully. There it goes, it just kicked on. All right guys, again, as you drive, the air will go in the front of the radiator here, and the fan is designed to pull it through, so it cools more efficient. So the air is actually designed to be pulled through by these fans. As you can see, it's working pretty hard against that paper. We're gonna get inside and watch the temperature gauge and make sure that it's on the way down. All right, we're right around 200 degrees right now, which is about the normal operating temperature for a Y block. All right guys, we're just letting everything cool down here. Again, this green wire is an override. So if you put a toggle switch on it and then run power to it from the battery, then it'll keep the fans on even when the engine's off. All All right, you can hear the fan still running in the background. This thing will keep running until the temperature of the temperature probe is under 165. As long as your car is on or on accessory, then it'll continue to cool your car until the temperature reaches the bottom of that range of the temperature probe that you've got. Again, this is a really good setup. You get fuel economy, you're talking power, you're talking better sounding. There's not the hurricane force winds coming from the engine bay. So this is a really good setup. It's super easy to install. It's relatively inexpensive. I'll leave the links for every product in this video in the description. And if you have any questions about this product or how to install it, please leave them in the comments section, and I would love to help you out as much as I can. Also, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. There'll be several other updates coming for the Nova and this truck. Also, I have a little bit different content coming to you later this week, so I hope you guys will enjoy that. Until then, I'll see you guys later. You guys didn't really think I was going to end this video without giving you some exhaust noise, right?